It's Thursday, June 27th. I'm Tre'vell Anderson.
And I'm Alexis Johnson. And this is What a Day, the show where we're celebrating one of our foremost national holidays.
That is right, everybody. We are, of course, talking about the 20th anniversary of the movie White Chicks.
A classic. Sending our best to all who celebrate. On today's show, SCOTUS inadvertently posts a highly anticipated abortion decision and then takes it down. Plus, Kenya's president rolls back a controversial tax bill after deadly protests in Nairobi.
But first, today is debate night in the United States of America, and 4 years after the last set of debates, we've got the same two still old and still white guys up there. In case you don't remember how it went last time, let me jog your memory.
I'm not going to answer the question.
Why would you answer that question?
The question is,
Justice, radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Y'all, it was a very, very wild time, and so we've been waiting for it. We've been dreading it, and now the time has come for President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump to debate for their lives. It'll be 90 minutes long, kicking off at 9 p.m. tonight Eastern time, and if you're skipping it, as we know many of you will be, we're going to do our best to take care of you.
Yeah, I can't lie. 9 p.m. is kind of past my bedtime, but give us the 411 and remind us where this is all happening.
Yes, so the debate is happening in Atlanta. It's hosted by CNN. Jake Tapper and Dana Bash are moderating. It's actually the first debate in history between a sitting and former president. So I guess, yay history, perhaps?
Okay, well, I also know a few things have changed about the format. So what's so different about this year?
Well, first off, there will be 2 commercial breaks. Now, usually there aren't any commercials breaking up the presidential debates, but CNN wants to capitalize on what's expected to be massive viewership. Semaphore reported that one of the top ad packages on the program cost $1.5 million, and you know what? Journalism costs, okay? Get over it, all right? But during these ad breaks, the candidates are not allowed to talk to their staff or get any pep talks. I guess they just have to stand there with their thoughts. Also different this year, there will not be an audience, and their microphones will be muted unless it is their turn to speak. So hopefully we don't have that back and forth like we just heard there.
Good luck with that.
I'm hoping for the best, Alexis, okay? So I wanted to talk to someone who knows firsthand what the process of preparing for a debate looks like. And our good friend of the pod and co-host of Hysteria, Alyssa Mastromonaco, happened to serve as the deputy chief of staff under President Obama. I started by asking Alyssa how, if at all, Biden should be treating this debate differently than the 2020 debates.
Gotta be honest, it has to treat him the same. Deadly fucking serious. Just because we have some different rules this year and it's 4 years later, he does not need to think about Trump in any sort of a different way. He is still the same person. Nothing has changed. All of his tricks are still up his sleeve. He just needs to take it deadly serious.
Okay, Trump is famously shameless, able to get away with scandals that would end the career of any other normal politician. If you were advising Biden ahead of tonight, what would you tell him in regards to that?
He has got to stay the course, Tre'vell. He cannot be derailed. You have to think of Trump as actually the only thing that he's actually successful at, which is the man can produce television. He loves TV moments. He wants to create a moment that they can use for fundraising, where he can say, look at him, he stuttered. Look at him, I set him off. Because don't forget, the last debate, he brought up Hunter Biden to then Vice President Biden. And he will bring up Hunter Biden again.
Absolutely.
He's going to try to throw President Biden off his game. He's going to try and get him emotional. And, you know, when any of us gets emotional, whenever we're defending family, you can get really off the rails. And so I think that he just needs to be steadfast. He has to have blinders on. I hope he's watched a million times over all of the old Trump moments in all of the debates, because it's almost like running a football play with him. You know, like you have to know all the different plays that he could run and guard against them.
Now, you worked as the deputy chief of staff in the Obama administration, so you know what it's like to prep for big nights like these. Take us behind the scenes. How do you think Biden has been preparing over the last few weeks and days? Is it watching these videos? Is it like they did in Scandal? Is he preparing, fake arguments just in case? How's it happening?
Trevo, let me tell you about my foundational debate prep experience. It was with the John Kerry campaign, and I was in charge of going to Neiman Marcus to buy all the ties to try on to see which burned on TV. That was my first segue into debate prep. But in general, I think that if I'm President Biden, I'm spending debate prep making clear, cogent examples of the policy that I have done, the successes I have had. This will be the biggest audience he's probably had in forever. And it is the time to communicate and show contrast. You're working on enunciating, getting your points out. What are the things you have to hit?
And we've got some big format changes this go around. Mics will be muted when they're not supposed to be talking. There's no audience. There's no prepared notes that they can bring with them. Of these changes, which do you think will be kind of the most difficult for the candidates to adapt to?
Oh, it has got to be the mics. It has got to be the mics. I actually went back and watched a couple of older debates, and it is going to be like they have duct tape on their mouths to not be able to respond. And I think that the muzzling effect on Trump may drive him insane. He will be like a caged animal, I think, without his mic on. Also, no studio audience. I'm going to be such a trite bitch right now, but I wonder how boring it's going to be.
I want boring, though. I
want boring, but I also want Americans to watch because I do think we're going to see contrast.
Sure.
But I do think this could feel much slower than other debates we have watched before.
To that point, historically, people tune into debates to get to know the candidates a bit better, right? But we know both of these dudes well enough. Plus, this debate is unusually early in the election process. How much sway do you think this debate could actually have on voters and the trajectory of this election at this point?
I do think it's early, but I love that we're doing it early because historically, the Presidential Commission on Debates, which has hosted these debates in the general election for about 30 years, I think, they are not a part of these. The candidates set up directly with, in this case, CNN, and in September with ABC. This is the part that's hard because we know them. I don't think it's as much about someone having a breakout, amazing performance as much as it is if they both do well, it's net neutral. I don't think it has much effect at all. If someone gets their clock cleaned, I think it'll matter. If someone performs really poorly, it's going to be on social media. We're going to see it nonstop until the fall. I think that Trump, if he whiffs, you heard it here first. This is my Newswitch prediction. That if Trump gets his clock cleaned, I bet you he announces his vice president really soon because he will want to use it for fundraising and to wipe away the story.
To deflect, yes.
I feel like in the past couple of weeks, he's been saying, I picked them. You don't know who they are, but I'm going to have them with me at the debate. And he's not saying when he says that we will know who the person is. What he's saying is he's bringing a cadre of people because there's always a spin room afterwards where everybody brings their surrogates, that among that herd of people, his vice president may be.
That was my conversation with Alyssa Mastromonaco, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff and co-host of Hysteria. On this week's episode of her show, I join her as guest co-host to wrap up Pride Month and discuss, among other things, the state of anti-trans legislation. Check it out on YouTube or wherever you get your fabulous podcasts.
Well, thank you for that, Tre'vell. We'll get to some headlines in a moment, but if you like our show, make sure you subscribe and share it with your friends. We'll be back after some ads.
What a Day is brought to you by Vuori. Vuori Performance Apparel makes the perfect Mother's or Father's Day gift. Everything is designed to work out in, but it doesn't look or feel like it. And they're incredibly comfortable and cute and just the perfect thing to wear when I'm working from home or out and about, mostly at home because I'm not out and about.
Yeah.
I will say I did not know clothes could be I'm being dead honest. I did not know clothes could be as comfortable as they are before I had Vuori.
Yes.
Clothes can be so comfortable. Nobody told me.
Smooth like butter, soft,
so good
on the skin. I just love living in Vuori. Vuori is offering What a Day listeners 20% off your first purchase when you go to vuori.com/WAD. That's VUORI.com/WAD. And enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75 and free returns.
At the UPS Store, we want to make this summer the summer of shipping. Summer Ship-a-Looza. So you can start crossing items off your must-ship list. Like the vintage film camera your college kid needs for class. Or the vase you told your mom you would send her ages ago. And with our pack and ship guarantee, your items arrive safe or we reimburse you. So stop by your local store today for everything you need to be unstoppable. Visit the upsstore.com/guarantee for full details. Available at participating locations. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.
A new client review. Let's see what it says. 1 star. The AC works great, but the tech was late and didn't text us to let us know. Yeah, well, maybe if we didn't write down addresses on sticky notes, that wouldn't have happened. Ugh.
Are you a home service professional who still runs your business with pen, paper, and spreadsheets? It's time to automate your office with Jobber and swear off the old-fashioned way of running a business for good. Quoting, scheduling, invoicing, reviews, and getting paid all with one tool. Start your free trial today at jobber.com.
Let's wrap up with some headlines.
Headlines.
The Supreme Court accidentally posted a document related to its ruling on Idaho versus the U.S. on its official website on Wednesday. That's the case that will decide whether or not doctors can provide emergency abortions in states that have strict abortion bans. The document was removed shortly after it was posted, but you gotta be quicker than that. Bloomberg News was quick to download it before it disappeared, and it's not clear if the document was just a draft of the Supreme Court's decision or the final decision itself. But according to Bloomberg's report, the justices seem poised to turn the case away. This would technically uphold a lower court's ruling that actually allows Idaho's doctors to provide emergency abortion care. But we won't know what the decision is until it's officially released. A spokeswoman for the High Court acknowledged the premature post on Wednesday, saying that the full ruling, quote, has not been released, but also didn't say when it would be released either.
But there were some official opinions released by the U.S. Supreme Court Wednesday. The justices sided with the Biden administration in a case that sought to limit government contact with social media companies. In a 6-3 decision, the court rejected claims from Republican states that the White House was suppressing free speech when it urged companies like Facebook and YouTube to do more to combat disinformation about COVID-19 and the 2020 election. Writing for the majority, Justice Amy Coney Barrett said the states didn't have the right to sue because they failed to prove they were harmed. By dismissing the case, the justices sidestepped thornier questions about the First Amendment and how it applies to social media companies. Justices Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, and Samuel Alito dissented. And in a separate 6-3 decision, the court's conservative majority further gutted a federal anti-corruption law. They drew an absurd distinction between an illegal bribe to influence an official decision and a gift given after the fact, which the court said was okay. Most surprising of all, Justice Thomas, regular receiver of expensive gifts from politically connected billionaires, did not write that opinion, which basically means we've got more folks we need to be investigating, okay?
Truly. Well, following deadly protests, Kenyan President William Ruto announced that he will withdraw a finance bill that would have raised taxes throughout the country. Demonstrations against the bill this week led to protesters storming and burning parts of the parliament building. The protests have largely been led by young people who argue that they can afford those proposed taxes. They also criticized the lavish lifestyles of Kenyan officials as the country sinks further into debt. Clashes with police grew violent, contributing to the deaths of more than 20 people and prompting a statement from the Kenyan Human Rights Commission condemning the police response. President Ruto addressed the political unrest on Wednesday.
Listening keenly to the people of Kenya, I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 finance bill.
Ruto will send the bill back to Parliament for amendments, but some demonstrators say they will keep marching in hopes of a full repeal and to call for resignations of those who voted for the bill.
Flood warnings are holding steady across the upper Midwest as severe thunderstorms, torrential rain, and heavy winds have battered the region for more than a week now. Tens of millions of people were at risk of the extreme weather earlier this week, with Iowa, South Dakota, and Minnesota all facing the brunt of the devastation so far. At least 20 rivers reached their highest recorded levels after days of heavy rain, forcing residents living near the overflowing rivers to flee their homes. In southern Minnesota, a house toppled into the Blue Earth River, leading to partial failure of a nearby dam. President Biden approved disaster declarations for several counties in Iowa earlier this week, allowing federal funding to get to those affected.
U.S. soccer star Alex Morgan has been left off of the Olympic roster for the women's national team. Emma Hayes, the team's new coach, unveiled her 18-player lineup on Wednesday. Speaking on a call with reporters after the roster's release, Hayes said, quote, "It was a tough decision, especially considering Alex's record and history with this team. I felt I wanted to go in another direction." Morgan has been the face of women's soccer for more than a decade. She was a key player in the national team's Olympic gold medal win in 2012 and its back-to-back World Cup wins in 2015 and 2019. But Hayes has been tasked with overseeing a generational transition for the team, especially after its historically early elimination from last year's Women's World Cup. In a statement posted on X, Morgan said, quote, "I'm disappointed about not having the opportunity to represent our country on the Olympic stage," but added that she looks forward to supporting the team as they head to Paris. Trevor, I think we're seeing a lot of this changing of the guard in women's sports. I mean, some of these historically famous players, they have to pass the baton at some point.
It is okay for the old heads to step aside and make room for the newbies,
It's
okay?
true.
And I know folks might not like the fact that Alex Morgan won't be playing, but this just gives great opportunity for some other really talented women's soccer players to show us what they can do.
Exactly, and that is ultimately how you grow the sport. And those are our headlines. One more thing before we go. Okay, What a Day Squad, mark your calendars. Today at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Crooked is bringing you a subscriber live chat during the first presidential debate of the year exclusively on the Friends of the Pod Discord. Join a community of Crooked fans and a few staff surprises as we live chat about the showdown between disgraced former President Trump and current President Biden. If that sounds like your ideal night, then first of all, you need to get out more. But second of all, head to crooked.com/friends to learn more and sign up.
That is all for today. If you like the show, make sure you subscribe, leave a review, stay dry out there if you're in the upper Midwest, and tell your friends to listen.
And if you're into reading and not just missives on the lasting cultural impact of white chicks like me, What a Day is also a nightly newsletter. Check it out and subscribe at crooked.com/subscribe. I'm Alexis Johnson.
I'm Tre'vell Anderson.
And hold my poodle. What a beautiful chocolate man. I mean, I could quote White Chicks all day.
Listen, White Chicks has all of the best quotes, okay?
So many good quotes. Oh, you want to talk about mothers.
You want to talk about mothers.
Shout out to the Wayans brothers. Icons, truly.
Icons. What a Day is a production of Crooked Media. It's recorded and mixed by Bill Lance. Our associate producers are Raven Yamamoto and Natalie Bettendorf. We had production help today from Michelle Alloy, Greg Walters, and Julia Clare. Our showrunner is Erica Morrison, and our executive producer is Adrian Hill. Our theme music is by Colin Gilliard and Kashaka.
How about Captain Crunch's Crunch Berries with breakfast?
Whoa, Dad, we're on
Crunch Island. He's Jean Lefoot.
And he stole our crunch.
Quick, the zip line.
He's getting away.
Throw our last Crunch Berry. No! No one steals my Crunch Berries.
I think you mean my crunch berries. Choose your own crunch venture with Cap'n Crunch.
At the UPS Store, we want to make this summer the summer of shipping. Summer Shipalooza. So you can start crossing items off your must-ship list. Like the vintage film camera your college kid needs for class. Or the vase you told your mom you would send her ages ago. And with our pack and ship guarantee, your items arrive safe or we reimburse you. So stop by your local store today for everything you need to be unstoppable. Visit the upsstore.com/guarantee for full details. Available at participating locations. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.